All right, good evening, everybody. It's a privilege to be up here tonight to introduce Patrick Elstead as a member of our Hall of Fame class of 2020. I wish I could see the pictures, but I can't do that. Few phrases come to mind when I think of Patrick. Few phrases or words. One, an incredibly explosive athlete. One of the few kids that we've had that runs a sub 4.5 40, 4.4 in the 40-yard dash, incredible leaper, and you'll hear some of the track accolades. Domination comes to mind. County, conference, state track championships all day long. I think of a winner. He was part of 3-team football state championships and 2-team state championships, as well as a runner-up. And I also think of his infectious enthusiasm and optimism. And he really loves a firm handshake. If you've ever shaken his hand, he's got a vice grip. A quote from his mom, another phrase, she called him the poster child for ACL surgery rehab. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. As a football player, Patrick was one of the most dominant defensive players that I've seen in my 30 plus years of coaching football. The way he could turn a corner as a defensive end, I mean, it's almost unfair. You have a wiry 6'2", 175-pound kid running 4.4. High school linemen cannot block that. And I'm sure if I would get Ty Garner up here in his prime, he wouldn't have been able to block him either. But they just can't even handle that. Sacks are not real big in high school football, but I went through some of our old stats, and he ended his career with 22 and a half. So he had 9.5 as a junior. As a senior, he had 12, and he had a couple as a sophomore. We've had some very good defensive teams recently and over the years. We're lucky if a single kid has more than maybe 4 or 5 sacks in a season, and he was doing it constantly. On offense, he was a running back that worked in rotation. He averaged 7 yards a carry. In 2 years, he scored 15 touchdowns. My biggest memory of him carrying the ball is on a veer, which we ran 35 of them a game. He would get the ball, he'd cut back some, then he'd cut back some more, and pretty soon he's gone, and nobody could catch him. As a football player, he tore his ACL in the state championship game his senior year. Was that in the first quarter? Okay, I don't remember it, but kind of sounds like I do. All right. After a modest year, his junior year in hoops, the following year I was named the head basketball coach, and I don't know if he remembers this, but one story where it's during football practice his senior year, and football gets kind of boring every once in a while. So we're just having a casual conversation, and I said, all right, we're going to run this backdoor alley-oop for you to dunk. Well, I never got to play that senior year, so we never got to use that play. But I think we did get you in one game towards the end of the season, right? Was it at regionals or senior night? Let's call it senior night. All right, like we both remember. But he did get in one game. Now, if I look at some of those other remarks or those other words, domination, and then if I look at his junior year in track, MVP of the Fond du Lac County meet, and he set the meet record that night. He was the team MVP that year. He set the school record in the triple jump at 44 feet and 6 inches, and that record still stands today. Then in the state meet, Patrick single-handedly won basically the team championship. He took first place in the 110 high hurdles. He took first in the triple jump, which is his favorite event, and he took first in the long jump. Those 3 events must have tuckered him out a little bit because he only took third in his last event, the 300 hurdles. His senior season would have been just as good if he didn't tear that ACL, but he did come back after 5 months of rehab. I mean, here it is, it's how many years later, 21 years later, nobody comes back from ACL injuries after only 5 months. His senior year, remember now, Mom said he's the poster child for ACL rehab. 5 months after surgery, He was back on the track, and in the first meet, he took first place in both of his hurdle events, and he took second in the long jump. Later that year in the Fond du Lac County meet, he won the hurdles and placed fifth in the long jump. Now, I'm not a long jumper. I was a baseball player in the spring of the year. Running around the track made no sense to me. But in his long jump and triple jump, he used to jump off of his right leg. Well, that was the one that he had surgery. So now, as a senior, he had to go off the opposite leg. And he wasn't all that coordinated, but that would still take a lot of coordination and explosiveness. So he still did that well. Maybe his right leg was at 85%, and he's still out winning events and track meets, which is truly incredible. And if he wasn't optimistic and as hardworking as he is and was, there's no way he'd have had that success as a senior. After high school, Patrick attended the University of Wisconsin, where he played football for the Badgers for 4 years, earning 3 letters. After that, he went on to be a grad assistant at Winona State, and I believe your brother was in the program then, right? Both of them, Jeff and Joe. How cool is that? Then he spent a couple of years coaching high school football at Madison Edgewood, and I did see him dropping off a little one the first day of school this year as he drove by and yelled, "Hey, Coach K." So in a few years, he'll be coaching football on the ledge, I'm sure. I don't know if I will or the other old guy, but he'll be there. If you'd ask his parents and his mom for sure, I'm sure she'd say his biggest accomplishment so far is just moving his family back to Fond du Lac about a year ago. Now Grandma and Grandpa get to see the grandkids more often, and Patrick, they don't really care about you that much. I'm proud to be your former teacher, your former coach, and now we've been friends for probably 20 years. You turned into a great person. Here's a quote that I got from somebody last night or this morning. Happened to be from your wife. Okay, as she sent me an email as Patrick and I have been texting lately. Here's Jen, his wife Jen. Here's her quote. She said, "While I'm sincerely proud of the man he is today, I don't think there are many wives that can say how proud they were of their husband when he was 17. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you're welcome for me saying that. At this time, please help me congratulate the newest member of the St. Mary Springs Athletic Hall of Fame, Patrick Elstead.
With that, hello everybody. Glad to be here, and I'm glad everybody is here as well. And like Katie said, I want to give a huge thank you to Chris Gillis and everybody that was involved in getting this night together again, to the Hall of Fame committee and everybody else that was here. Please give them a round of applause. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, Ty, Joe, Julie, Paul, in the 2004 4x1 Relay State Championships. I'm absolutely honored to be inducted alongside you. Congratulations. This is pretty awesome. When I started thinking about what I wanted to say tonight, I started reflecting on what St. Mary Springs means to me. And what it meant to me as a student, what it means to me as an alumnus, what it means to me as a father, as a husband, and the one thing that keeps coming back to me is how grateful I am. How grateful I am to have had the opportunity to be a student at St. Mary Springs and now a representative of the school and what it stands for. Recently I heard this phrase, always have an attitude of gratitude. I love that. Attitude of gratitude. Okay? And I think tonight I want to flex my attitude of gratitude to a whole lot of people tonight, and I hope we can do that to the fullest. First and foremost, thank you to my parents. It started a little earlier than I thought. But one thing that I have learned from St. Mary Springs is that a grown man can show his emotions when it's something important to you. Just ask Coach Highland. I love you, Coach. But thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for sending me and my siblings to St. Mary Springs. There's a thing after state championship games down in Mass. We've been so lucky to get down there year after year after year. And we meet there, and I always say, thank you for sending me to St. Mary Springs. I mean it, because of how proud I am of this and what it has taught me as a person and as a man, and the sacrifices you both made to make that happen. So thank you very much. Thank you to my sister and brothers, Amy and Eric. Thank you for being role models and showing me how hard work and what it means to be a leader up on the ledge. Jeff and Joe, thank you for pushing me to be that role model for you and your teammates and classmates. Thank you to my wife, Jen. You are a saint. What you do to make me better every day as a husband and as a man and as a father is truly unlike anything I've ever seen before and very shy away from the true grace. So thank you. I love you. Thank you to my teammates, some of whom are here tonight. You have no idea what that means to me. It was so much fun to go out and compete alongside you guys, to make goals and to achieve those goals and to have fun the whole time we were doing it. That was awesome. Thank you. Coach Highland, thank you for so many things. I am one of thousands of individuals, of student athletes that you help make better people in this world. I worked harder, I played harder, I pray harder because of those lessons that you've given me and so many other people. One of those examples kind of comes to mind is how he has helped folks. And this was a story when I was a freshman, and it's about end of winter, and I decided, what should I do in spring? Should I play baseball or should I run track? I've never ran track before. All my buddies are playing baseball. So what does a naive freshman do after a math class? I go walk over to Coach Highland and I said, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. Should I run track or should I play baseball? He looked me right in the eyes and he said, well, you can either get fast or you can stand in the outfield all spring, scratch and insert, you know what. That's a good point there. I'll run track. I think I made a wise decision. Thank you, Coach, for making me fast. Coach Bob Baker, thank you for making me faster. So a lot of people know Coach Baker and his Zen-like approach to mentally focusing for a match, or a race, or a game, or a task. That same mentality I use on a daily basis. When I go running, I still do that. But what some of you don't know is that, like a lot of coaches here at St. Mary Springs, Coach Baker would drive from the Holy Lands on Tuesday and Thursdays at night and form a running group with a lot of us after evening weights. It started with about 2 or 3 of us, and it was 5, then it was 7, then it was up to about 20 to 25 kids that wanted to do this. And we got fast. I mean, even my brother Eric got fast. Well, he got faster. He got faster because of you. And so, but it was the camaraderie that we had from freshmen to folks that were playing football in college. That's the camaraderie that we love, and so thank you. Thank you very much for that. Coach Rieger, kind of sweet over like all my basketball. That's what's easy. Yeah, it's true. I'm not a very good basketball player. You said I'm not very coordinated. I can only dribble with my left hand, and I'm left-handed. playing basketball. That's my coach. Absolutely loved it. So thank you for what you taught me on the football field, basketball court, but more importantly, thank you for the conversations we've had after that, those lessons and those outlooks on life and faith. Stay with me, so thank you very much. And then to all coaches and teachers and staff and priests and sisters at St. Mary Springs, thank you so much for the love and passion that you show each and every one of those young men and women on the ledge and making them the leaders in our world today. There is a special place in heaven for all of you. So thank you very much. Go Legends!
Woo!